right. Hello, everybody. We're glad you're joining us today. My name is Will Dowling. I'm a product marketing manager here at ConnectWise for our Asio platform, and I have a very special guest with me today. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Will, thank you so much for inviting me. So excited to be here talking about this topic. My name is Jake Varghese, and I'm the Executive VP and GM for the Business Management Pillar here at ConnectWise that consists of some of your favorite solutions, the PSA, the CPQ, Brightgauge, IT Boost, Smileback, Service Leadership, and Payments.
Can't say it all in one breath anymore, can you? All the things. Jake has all the fun toys.
I might pass out, Will.
Right? Yeah, I don't want to pass up. So we're here today, Jake, to talk a little bit about Asio, our awesome platform, right? And AI, because those two things really go hand in hand together. We actually, earlier this year, built a AI service that's built natively on Asio. And we're allowing a lot of our other products to be able to consume it. So, whenever we're talking Asio, a lot of people are like, well, what is that? Well, it's truly a platform. It's an actual platform. It's not a bunch of singular products that are just stuck together with APIs. Asio is a one solution that uses shared data layers, that has the ability to take all of these disparate functions that we've had to kind of glue together previously, bring them into one place. So it's kind of like, if you look at where we were 10 years, 20 years ago, where we had a calculator on our desk and a Rolodex and a phone on our desk, right? And we've taken all of that. And nowadays it all exists on one of these, right? Cell phone. That you have apps and you just download those apps and things start working. That's really the future of where we're going with Asio. It makes it a lot easier whenever you have one place and you can just download what you need and start utilizing it, right?
And have you noticed AI is so integral to Asio that is actually the name of Asio. There's A and I in Asio, right? I mean, so that's how we think about Asio. And jokes apart, I love that analogy. But essentially, now you have all of Radio Shack on your phone, right? I mean, each and everything that used to be sold at the Radio Shack, for the folks that remember Radio Shack, is on your phone. And I am so excited about Asio and the progress that the team has made since the time that Asio has gone live. CWRMM is already on top of Asio. Tens of thousands of partners are using CWRMM. They're absolutely loving it. And now with all the AI and automation capabilities that are built into the heart of this hyperscale SaaS platform that you and I will know it as Asio, I mean, I can't believe it. And it's so amazing to just think that we're mere weeks away from IT Nation Connect in Orlando this year. And I know that you've got a lot of great things planned to announce at IT Nation Connect. I'm like, as you can tell, I'm a very passionate person, but given the pace and the speed and just the sheer number of capabilities that are going to be announced at IT Nation Connect, I'm salivating, bro. I'm salivating.
Me too. Tell me about it. It's one of those things where I love the fact that we have so many things coming for IT Nation this year. We're having to figure out how to fit all of these things into not one, not two, not three, but 4 keynotes. Like, we have so much stuff coming that we can't fit it all into one place, which is amazing. Like, it's going to be awesome this year. And, Jake,
that's a great problem to have, right, Will?
It really is. It's a great problem to have. And really part of that is the intersection between automation and AI. So that's one of those things that, as the two intersect, I think that's going to be just a complete game changer for everybody. Let's talk a little bit about that.
No, thank you, Will. I mean, thanks for teeing that up. I've had the privilege of working in the AI ML space for a very long time. I spent a lot of time at Microsoft in Redmond, Washington. And one of the teams that I worked in was the Natural Language Group. And it's so funny because all these years later, large language models are hot. And we used to work on language models, not large, but, reasonably sized models way back in the day as we built, the spell checker, grammar checker into Microsoft Office and the products. And it's at that time, it was very evident, right, what is going to happen with AI and ML. And to me, I've always thought that the best innovation happens at the intersection point of two areas. And when you think about everything that we're doing from a hyper automation standpoint, where it's a combination of AI and ML, that's where the magic happens, right? We all know what's happening within the RPA space. We all know what's happening within the AI space. Now imagine you take both of those things together, where you initiate some sort of a workflow, it waits, it goes off and does and calls an action that does reasoning, and based upon the specific insight that is generated, you can trigger off a bunch of other workflows or subflows. Now
Right.
that is truly where the magic happens. Can you imagine the amount of time savings that we're going to enable on behalf of our MSPs and our TSPs?
It is wild to think about that. I actually heard an interesting statistic recently that said that basically 50% of all work in today's age can be automated. And whenever you start adding AI into that, that's where you really start to take that and exponentially multiply the efficiency gains through putting the two hand in hand, not just having your automation engine and your AI, but having the two of them working hand in hand together is really where you can start to drive a ton, and I mean a ton, of just efficiency. I mean, it's you mentioned, when you and I were talking before this, kind of we're in that what third epoch of computing. Let's kind of
Yeah,
dig into
I
that.
I think Martin Casado of Andreessen Horowitz, right, A16Z.
Mhm.
I mean, he's an outstanding operator, right? I mean, he's run some amazing businesses before. I was just reading something that he said, that he says that we're in the third epoch of compute, and to just kind of put it into perspective, the first epoch of compute happened when the microchip was delivered, right? So kind of
Mhm.
we went from the cost of computing being exorbitantly high to now the marginal cost of compute being zero, because now everybody
Right.
has a device. The second
Mhm.
epoch of compute per Martin was when the internet came about, and suddenly you went from this packet software to every solution being delivered just like this. So the marginal
Yeah.
cost of distribution went down to zero. And now we're in this seemingly in the third epoch of compute, where the marginal cost of creation is going to go down to zero, right? I mean, all these
Mhm.
things that we want to do, boom. You want to create this image of a cat wearing a hat and riding a motorcycle, boom. Just go
Boom.
there, go to Dali, and a Mid Journey, they'll create something like that for you, right? It's
Yeah. Absolutely.
unprecedented. So what that means now is it's going to unlock creativity and efficiency, frankly, at a scale, I'll tell you, Will, that you and I can't even imagine at
Yeah.
this point in time, because that's what happened in the previous two epochs, right? Which
Mhm.
was, oh, when the microchip happened, you couldn't imagine the types of businesses that are going to happen. Same
No.
thing from an internet perspective. We couldn't have imagined that someone like an Amazon is going to come across and just revolutionize everything that we do. That,
Absolutely.
that we're in the cusp of that type of productivity, efficiency, and just awesomeness. Oh, I can't wait for what this particular disruption is going to unleash. And the beautiful thing about this is, we at ConnectWise, we
Mhm.
have we've been through those other
Yeah.
sorts of massively disruptive events, and we want to be here. We know we can get a sense for what is coming, and we're building everything in place so that we can help our MSPs navigate safely towards the other end, not just
Yeah.
survive, but thrive in this sort of an environment.
And that's honestly really important because you, like you mentioned, you've kind of seen a few of those epochs before, and it's scary, to be honest. If you don't know what to expect, like, that's a scary place to be. But like you mentioned, we're building everything, especially with a lot of the new functionalities we built into Asio, to really kind of help be that guide through those potentially choppy waters ahead. And that's where we're doing a lot with different language models. We built the Asio AI service to be generic, so that as new models become available, we can consume them. We can start plugging in, hey, what's the best one to use? Hey, what's the one that's most efficient for an MSP? What's the one that's most efficient for someone who's working on the back end? It makes it a lot easier for us to be able to deliver that to our partner base. And as we're talking about those models, I mean, there's so many different variations of models that we have the ability to utilize here. Like, I know, we've got what foundational models, frontier models. Let's talk a little bit about that.
And 100%, and thank you for teeing that topic as well, Will, because if you think about ASIO, it
Hmm.
embodies the spirit of the open ecosystem that
Yeah.
all of us subscribe to here at ConnectWise, right? And that bodes really well, because frankly, all we want to do is have a beautiful, delightful, scalable, performant, reliable experience, and that is secure for each and every one of our partners, right? And as is the case with massive technology, tectonic shifts like the ones that we're experiencing in the world of AI, right? You don't know which of these models are going to become prominent, right? I mean,
Right.
OpenAI came out of the gate, right? I mean,
Mhm.
leapt out of the gate, but there are other models that are catching up, and frankly,
Yeah.
like you said, we're indifferent. We just want to make
Mhm.
sure that you're able to maybe bring your own models to the
Exactly.
game and align, right? So, kind of, you mentioned something about frontier models and about foundation models, right? So, for folks that may or may not know this, I mean, there's about four frontier models that exist today, right? The first one was OpenAI. The other
Mhm.
one is, Google's got Bard, and there's
Mhm.
another company that was created by one of the original members of OpenAI. It's Anthropic, and then there's another one of these capabilities. So the thing about these frontier models is that I mean, essentially they're encapsulating the entire notion of the world within those models, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what OpenAI did with
Mhm.
ChatGPT 3.5. But that's, I mean, they stopped at, I think, September of 2021, and
Right.
the world has progressed a little bit since then. But
Very quickly too.
the cool thing about what they did was they were able to decompose all the entities in the world, and were able to kind of build relationships amongst those entities so that you can answer a lot of very important questions. What is Jake's relationship to Will
Mhm.
Dowling? Previously, I had to build that by hand. It was very
Right.
painstaking. Now, with a bunch of the techniques, the transformer techniques, the zero shot learning techniques, the
Mhm.
amount of time that it takes has gone down dramatically. The issue is it's very expensive to
Yeah.
build these frontier models. So only few companies can do that. So now let's say that's at the base. On top of that, you have something called as foundation models, right? Foundation
Mhm.
models are essentially specialized models for each and every area that you operate in. Let's say you're operating in the legal space and you're a lawyer,
Yeah.
right? So you'll have a specialized model that's built on top of these frontier models that's very, very specific to the law,
Mhm.
and knows about entities within that space. So that is another world that we're getting into, where you have these
Absolutely.
Lego block approach, frontier, foundation, more specialized capabilities.
Mhm. And I mean, imagine that from an MSP perspective. If there's eventually a foundational model that's very targeted to the space, we have the ability to consume it. Heck, we might even have the ability to build our own. Who knows? Like anything is possible in this future. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's one of those things where the options are endless. The options for us to be able to provide cutting edge AI models is huge. Like this is where we make sure that we're future proofing our partner base. And I think that's a big thing to note, because as things are moving as fast as they are, it can be difficult to keep up, especially if you're trying to do it on your own. And I
Yep.
think as we're doing that, another thing that we always have to keep in mind, and this is something that we're very, very, very aware of and that we've made commitments to, is responsible use of AI, right?
100%. And I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because security is at the heart of everything that we do here at
Mm-hmm.
ConnectWise. We treat that very, very seriously. And frankly, AI is not impervious to that, right? I mean, because
Oh,
there's a large amount of data that is utilized to be able to build some of these models, etc. So for us, we're never going to compromise on our priority. I wouldn't even say it's priority one; it's priority zero for us. So at IT Nation Connect, at IT Nation Secure, sorry, earlier this year, Jason McGee, our CEO, stood up on stage and he announced
mhm.
our responsible AI statement, and it's available on our website. And frankly,
Okay.
it has five key elements to it. Right? The first one is data protection. It's all about
Mhm.
data protection and how we prioritize partner and client data privacy. The second one has to do with transparency, and it's we talk about trust a lot here at ConnectWise, and the way that you engender trust, the way that you build upon trust, is being transparent in the way that
Yeah.
we do business. The third part is of our responsible AI framework is reliability and safety. I
Mhm.
think that's I don't have to explain that. I mean, I think you just get it. And the
You've got
final
to
thing
have
has to
those.
do with collaboration and compliance. Everything that we do in concert with the IT nation community. The
Yes.
community is at the center of everything that we do here at ConnectWise. And finally, from a compliance perspective, we are committed to ensuring that we're compliant with all the industry standards that exist,
Yeah.
the ones that are here right now, as well as the ones that are evolving. So those are the
Yeah.
5 things that we think about when we think about anything that has to do with AI here at ConnectWise.
Absolutely. And every single, new feature we develop for AI, we take all of those 5 things into consideration. Like it's not just something where we go, hey, that looks cool, let's throw it in here. Like we think about these things. We make sure that we are following our own rules whenever it comes to building meaningful AI innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I feel like other people may not be doing. They're just going, hey, I'm going to bolt this on and it's your problem if things go sideways. We're making sure that as we're building, it's reliable and safety. We're collaborating with our ecosystem and we're transparent about everything. And most importantly, like you said, is that data protection. Like, we want to make sure your data's safe. We're not just sitting there putting your secret information out on public chat GPT. Too many other businesses are already doing that themselves. We don't need to help with that. So with this,
Well,
this
let
is,
me let me
yeah,
ask you a
go for it.
question, right? I mean, so you work on ASIO, right? I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
privy to everything that's happening in ASIO. What are some of the cool AI things that that you can share right now that's coming in ASIO? Give me at least one.
Oh, give
Yeah.
you at least one. I mean,
Yes.
can I share some of the fun things that we're doing?
Well, maybe
You
just one
want?
thing, right? We got
All
we got
right,
we got to keep the crowd wanting for more, but at
I
least share
agree. All right, so I'm going to share one that you've kind of talked about before. I've talked about before, and I actually come from our support team originally here at ConnectWise when I first started my career here, and I will tell you one thing that I see a lot of MSPs have problems with that we used to have problems with was ticket categorization, man.
Ooh,
Like, how many times have we miscategorized a ticket, especially on the MSP side? If it's billable or not billable and you miscategorize it, that's money out of your pocket. If it's
that's true.
something where you miscategorize it and suddenly, it should have been a priority one issue and someone miscategorized it and it goes into the black hole of, we'll get to it later, that's a problem. That's where you're losing your customers' faith in you. So being able to have things like AI look at that and go, based off of the information I'm seeing here, this ticket needs to be a priority one. And having it kick that off, having it start doing things like notifying the correct people, like that is huge. That is where we start to be able to take what everyone else is doing, make it better, and allow our partners to really become the heroes that their customers want them to be without them having to sit there and do things like add head. I saw a statistic recently that said like 90 of people who have implemented, automation and AI in their business are finding that they have a better quality of life and better satisfaction in their business. So this is like what we want to be able to deliver. We want to make sure that, we can give your teams the ability to do more without having to burn them out and run them into the ground, without having to add headcount where it's not necessary. Like this is, again, ticket categorization is a small one, but that's the difference between, are we getting paid for this work? Are we not getting paid for this work? Are we retaining this customer? Are we losing this customer?
I love the way that you expressed it. It kind of demonstrates your knowledge of the space, etc. And you talked about headcount, etc. The way that I think about it, Will, is it's hard to land talent, right? In our industry, but
Yeah,
once you land talented folks, you better hang on to them, right? And
absolutely.
you don't want them doing kind of lower order work, right? But it's still
Mhm.
important to the business. But if there's a way that you can automate it and automate it with
Yeah.
insights, so this way you can make sure that the talent that you have in house is happy, right? They come into work
Mhm.
happy. They're happy while doing the work. When they go back home, they're happy as
Yeah.
well. It kind of increases their job satisfaction because some of the monotonous, the repetitive part of the work that they don't enjoy because it does not stroke their creativity. Now you have an AI and automation that can assist you with that particular process, right? So
Absolutely.
I'm so
Yeah.
looking forward to that world.
Yeah, me too.
By
And
the way,
that's, one of
that
those.
world is not too far away. It's coming
Yeah,
in less than 4 weeks.
very soon. Yes. So many things. This is only the scratching of the tip of the iceberg here. Like there is so much more fun stuff coming. And you mentioned something. It's talent's hard to find. Talent's hard to keep, but where a lot of people, and I've heard this from tons of our partners, is where they get bogged down is just that repetitive stuff that you're like, we've got to do this in order to keep the business running. But to have one, very talented technician dedicated to doing like this one task 30 times a day, like you can't really scale that. But if you have AI being able to help assist with that, just think about it. If you could free up 30% of your technician's day, 30%, that's a very conservative number, but if you can free up 30% of your technician's day through automation and AI working hand in hand together, multiply that by how many technicians you have. Like,
That's incredible.
It's exponential.
It is. And I always think about taking all that time, taking all that creativity and putting it to productive use.
Absolutely.
Right? Imagine the types of businesses that we will build, the types of businesses that we will run. Can you imagine if you had 30% more time to service your customers? Do you think they would love it? Right? If you could engage with them and say, hey, let me help you. What are some of the business problems that you're solving, right? Let me get right there, be on that table where the decisions are being made. Let me be that trusted advisor.
Exactly.
Because now I have that quality time to spend with you. That is what AI and automation can do for you.
Absolutely. It's really about being able to free your team up to do things like continue to build relationships with your customers, because they're not sitting there going, oh God, I have to go here and here and here and here and here and here and here today to do these 15 things. They can sit there. They can build a relationship with your customers. They can, allow you to be able to start finding new customers, because guess what? 30% of your day is free now. It also means that, as you're freeing up your technicians for all these higher priority issues, a lot of that lower level stuff's being taken care of. And at that point, that's where you start to see the returns from the customer side, because guess what? If you're treating them well, you're fixing all of their issues even more quickly, you're turning your customers into your biggest fans. And at that point, that means retention goes way up because they're happy with you. They're not looking for someone else. That means that you have the opportunity to do things like, hey, maybe cross-sell them into something else that you're offering, because guess what? They trust you already and they know, hey, these guys are treating me well. They're not going to lead me astray. And it also means that if they're happy, guess what? They're going to give you referrals. So again, this is where 30% sounds, like, oh, great, my team gets more time back. No, this is where 30% compounds and allows you to be able to become those champions that your customers really want you to be without you having to hire 17 more people to be able to do it. And that is the power of AI and automation together, in my opinion.
Sign me up, my friend. I'm ready.
I love it. And, we've got so much more coming for IT Nation that we can't tell you about, because we want you to come to IT Nation and see it and be there in person to hang out with us and experience this. Now, if you can't come to IT Nation, there is also a virtual option for IT Nation. Highly recommend you go ahead and you register. It's free if you're a ConnectWise partner. So if your boss is going to IT Nation and you're not, guess what? You can still come. Just come virtually. And one of the other perks of that, you'll be able to hang out with me. I'm one of the two virtual hosts, along with the wonderful Vicky Bruns. We're going to be guiding everyone on the virtual tour through IT Nation. We're going to be there along with you to help you see why you want to be there in person next year if you can't come this year.
I know, Will. And one of the things I'm super excited about and beyond everything that's coming in Asio and AI is, we've been reimagining and modernizing the PSA and CPQ.
Yes.
And there are some key modules that we're reimagining on top of Asio, and we're making it available. I know that someone asked a question about that. I just finished a webinar where I talked about that. But you got to come to IT Nation Connect, because we're going to show you all demos of working product, as opposed to screenshots, or maybe not even just talking about it, not showing you something. We're going to show you something that's live and working, and you'll be able to access that as well. So please come. And for some reason, like Will said, if you're unable to be there in person, we will miss you, but we will see you online, right? So regardless of how you engage, please do engage with us.
Absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to it. And other things that I'm looking forward to, especially, if you're joining us on the virtual experience this year, Vicky and I are going to be doing awesome things like doing interviews with people like Jake after he's had his keynote so he can then actually talk about all of the cool things that he wants to talk to you about right now, but can't. It's going to be awesome.
Well, hey, I think we've really jazzed up the folks. We amped them up, and
Yeah.
maybe this is a good opportunity for to thank everyone that's joined us. And also,
Mhm.
Will, thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoy
Absolutely, Jake.
chatting with you, engaging with you, and can't wait to do this again.
I can't wait either. Only a few weeks, and we'll be able to do it in person at IT Nation. I
Love it.
appreciate everybody joining us today. We love having you, and hopefully, we'll see all of you again soon. Hopefully, in person at IT Nation. If not, well, we'll see you virtually. Have a great one, everybody.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.